Sisters and friends, hear this truth that might just lift your spirit today. There's a strong reason why certain women simply do not break. They have lived through tough times. They have felt the sting of being betrayed, deep heartbreak and disrespect. But still, they move as if nothing ever harmed them. This isn't because they are cold or because they feel nothing, but because they have an unseen shield. A strong power surrounds her, guiding her and making a way for her even when she can't easily see it. The moment you see these signs, you will understand why she always gets back up. Why no weapon made to hurt her ever really works. So if you are that kind of woman or are moving towards being her, don't just skip this. Every moment of this message shows you the inner strength you share with the world. People might think she's by herself, like she's missing out on things. They might wonder how a woman like her moves through life without always needing someone right next to her. No big group, no crowd of people, no loud entry. Just her moving with quiet grace and a deep sense of purpose. But what they don't know is that she's never truly alone. She isn't empty inside. She isn't waiting for people to cheer. She's not seeking attention. She is walking with something very important that most people don't get because they are too busy chasing noise. She has gone through too much to depend on people who are only there for a short time. She has seen people come and go from her life so easily. She's been hurt by those she put her faith in and left alone when she needed help most. Still, she didn't let that destroy her. It didn't turn her bitter or angry. It made her more sensible. It showed her that some people enter your life just to teach you how to stand on your own. And once you master that, you realize you were never truly by yourself. You were being covered, kept separate, saved for something much bigger. When a woman learns how to walk on her own, it means she has learned how to hear her true voice again. Not the sounds of guilt, not the wrong ideas of fear, not the whispers of those trying to control her, but her own voice. The one that speaks the truth even when the world tries to quiet it. The one that tells her when to leave a place, when to cut off a connection, when to trust, and when to hold back. That voice is never loud, it is special. It only speaks when there is peace. That is why she walks alone, so she can hear it clearly. She knows that not every person nearby is a good thing. Not every group is safe. Not every friend is honest. She has learned how to sense energy, how to notice what does not feel right for her soul, how to recognize danger that seems friendly. And once you have spent enough time around the wrong kind of people, being alone feels like calmness. It is not being lonely, it is being set free. It is the type of freedom that makes you enjoy your own company. And that is what makes her safe from harm. Badness doesn't always come with clear warning signs. Sometimes it blends in. It acts charming, it pretends. And those who are always busy, always needing someone close, might often miss those signals. But not her, because she has learned to walk solo. She has developed a sharp spirit. She does not need a warning. She can feel when something is wrong. Her spirit speaks louder than words, and her quietness keeps her ready. People often ask, how is she so okay being by herself? What they don't understand is that time alone taught her the difference between being wanted and being used. It showed her how to stop giving her energy to people who offer nothing back. It taught her that love is not about begging anyone to stay. It is about respecting yourself enough to let them go. She no longer fears letting people leave. She welcomes it because she knows her peace is too precious to keep paying for it with her energy. What protects her isn't just physical, it's spiritual. It's the unseen hand that moves her away from trouble. It's the inner whisper that tells her no, even when everything around her screams yes. That protection might not be obvious. No big signals, no cheering, but it appears in moments others don't notice. The text she didn't answer, the person she didn't agree to meet, the offer she said no to that later turned out to be a mess. That is not just luck. That is divine care. And that protection grows stronger when she walks in silence. Because when you walk with too many voices around you, Their noise stops you from having clear thoughts. Their thoughts cloud what you see. But when you walk alone, your inner sight becomes clearer. You hear better. You move with power, not forced effort. And that kind of power, evil cannot touch it. Some people will get it wrong. They will say she is distant, that she is cold. But they don't understand that her silence isn't a wall. It is a safe place. It is where she makes herself new. It is where she listens to the truth. It is where she builds her strength. And most of all, it is where she becomes unshakable. She is not wandering. She is not lost. She is not walking without a plan. She is being guided. Every move she makes has a reason. Every way she chooses holds a purpose. Every quiet time alone reminds her that despite every bad thing out there, she is not weak. She is not simple to fool. She is covered, and being protected doesn't always look like armor or swords. Sometimes it looks like silence. Sometimes it looks like being by herself. Sometimes it looks like a woman walking alone but carrying the strength of an entire army inside her. So, the next time you see her, head held high, walking with confidence, no one beside her, don't feel sorry for her. Don't think she's missing something. Know that she is walking in pure power. She is in the right place. She is in a time where being separate means being protected. And she has never been stronger. She does not need to explain anything. She does not wait for someone to show their true self before trusting her inner feeling. Her spirit senses things before actions confirm them. When someone steps near her, she feels it. A change in the air, an odd stress, a silent warning. It is not worry, it is awareness. She does not guess. She knows. When she walks into a place, she sees not just with her eyes but with her soul. While others fall for nice words, fake smiles, and beautiful outside looks, she sees right through it. She is not impressed by a show. She is not moved by masks. She has danced with pain. She has faced trickery. She has lived through being betrayed. And once you have been through that fire, your spirit doesn't just get better, it changes completely. Her awareness is now her defense. Her quietness becomes her shield. She pays attention not just to the words, but to the way they are said, the timing, the feeling behind them. That uneasy feeling when someone smiles but your heart says something else, she listens to that. That is how she stays safe. Not by fighting, not by accusing, but by noticing. She does not need to argue to prove she knows. Her spirit already confirms it. Sometimes she can't even explain why. But when someone looks great on the surface, yet something still feels wrong, she trusts that feeling. She doesn't wait for problems. She doesn't ask for clear answers. She just makes space, because she knows not everything good looking is good for her. Not every chance is a gift. Not every person who admires her has pure intentions. That's why she is safe. She does not silence her inner voice. She leans into it because it has never led her wrong. That voice saved her from another painful problem. It warned her before danger arrived. It protected her when words failed, when people let her down. She doesn't tell everyone about her feelings. She just acts differently. When something changes, she adjusts. No chasing, no begging, no guilt. She protects her peace without saying sorry. She does not care about proving a point. She's focused on keeping what she worked hard to build: her peace, her goals, her healing. Badness isn't always loud. Sometimes it whispers. Sometimes it wears a smile. Sometimes it pretends to help. That is why her inner sense is her strongest weapon. She has seen kindness used as a trick. She has had normal talks that left her spirit empty. That is why she no longer judges with her eyes alone. She listens with her spirit. And the more she trusts that inner truth, the more connected she becomes. Confusion no longer troubles her. People who used to reach her can no longer access her energy. She knows the cost of ignoring her spirit. She has done it before. She gave chances she shouldn't have, stayed longer than she should have. But she learned the hard way. Yes, but she learned. And now she doesn't give badness the benefit of the doubt. Her shield is her awareness. Her ability is in seeing without making noise. She does not always need to point it out. Sometimes she just removes herself. Sometimes the best action is no reaction, no fight, just wisdom, just stillness. She does not argue about what her spirit already knows. If something feels wrong, she trusts it. That keeps her far ahead. Some will call her too careful, too sensitive, but they don't realize her sensitivity is her great power. It was shaped by pain. It was made better by experience. It is not weakness, it is wisdom. She doesn't ignore the change in the room. She feels it. She respects it. That is why bad people can't easily reach her. That is why people who try to control others feel uncomfortable around her. They can't hide behind fake smiles. She sees through it all. She does not need proof. Her knowing is silent, but it is powerful. And that deep knowing, that special inner sense, that is what stops her from walking into traps, from believing empty words, from spending time on what doesn't match her soul. She can feel shadows before they appear. And that is why she walks in light, not just the kind people see, but the kind that helps her truly see. And that kind of light no evil can touch. The enemy is not worth her time. That is not weakness, that is wisdom. She has been through too much to let small-minded people pull her into problems. She has seen how the enemy moves not always by attacking directly, but by distracting her, stealing her focus, disturbing her peace, and trying to mess up her goals. Once you understand that some people show up to cause trouble, not because they are strong, but because they feel threatened by your calm, you stop giving them the pleasure of your reaction. She knows how to walk away, not because she is scared to fight, but because she refuses to waste her energy on pointless battles. She realizes some people appear just to create confusion, to test her patience, to tempt her to act unlike herself. But she has grown past that. She is too grounded, too focused. Growth teaches you that silence can be your strength, distance can be your defense, and peace becomes your victory. She has learned that protection doesn't always look like being hidden from the problem. Sometimes it's having the strength to ignore it, to not answer the text, to not show up for the fight, to not get caught up in the noise. That is real maturity. When you are not shaken by every little push or provocation, when you see the trap and choose to go around it, not through it. Some will try to mess with her peace. They will try to cause trouble using lies, guilt, and tricks. They will push her buttons just to see if they still control her. But she has changed. She has moved up a level. She doesn't run on feelings anymore. She doesn't act on the spot. She walks with purpose. She knows her attention is important, and she won't waste it on people who haven't earned her time. That is the difference between a woman who is protected and one who reacts quickly. A protected woman has learned to pause before speaking, breathe before answering, and think before acting. She understands that some people only want to drain her. They want to distract her from her important work. They want to break her focus because they can't handle how calm she is. When you carry light, darkness always tries to pull you in. But it only works if you walk into the shadows. So she stays grounded. She protects her peace. She lets people assume, talk, and think whatever they want. Because in the end, her purpose speaks louder than their thoughts. She is not here to prove her worth. She is here to protect her energy. And that is what upsets bad people. A woman who doesn't react, doesn't answer, and lets her silence speak louder than their noise. When you don't react, you take their power away. When you don't respond, they are left talking to themselves. And when you walk away from battles that don't belong to you, you leave with your peace untouched. Her protection is in that stillness, in the wisdom that reminds her, you don't need to fight every battle. You don't have to win every argument. You don't have to explain yourself to those who are determined to not understand you. She knows who sent her. She knows what lives inside her. And that is why she doesn't need to prove it. Some will say she's cold. Others will say she's distant, that she should have spoken up, that she should have reacted. But she knows the cost of stepping into trouble. She knows how easy it is to lose your way when you're fighting in places that were never meant for you. So she doesn't argue. She doesn't defend. She rises above the lies, above the drama, above the noise, because she understands that getting higher requires separation. Each time she walks away from what was meant to destroy her peace, she is protected. Each time she chooses silence over getting even, she is strengthened. Each time she refuses to prove herself to those below her purpose, she grows. She doesn't take on every fight because some are just noise, some are bait, and some are beneath the woman she has become. Her discipline is her protection, her silence is her defense, and her victory is in the fact that she is still standing, still calm, still focused, still powerful. While the world tries to pull her down, she remains unshaken. She doesn't fall for it. She doesn't react. She doesn't fight because she already knows she has won. Not everyone deserves a spot in her life, and she knows that. She's not chasing fame. She's not trying to impress anyone. Her loyalty cannot be bought, and her energy is not for anyone to take. She values her peace too much to allow just anyone close. Because once you've been betrayed, once you've been hurt by people you trusted, once you face fake smiles hiding real harm, you learn. You learn that access to you is earned, not simply given. She doesn't keep people around just to feel less lonely. She doesn't accept shallow friendships that drain her spirit. If it's not real, if it's not built on truth, love, and trust, she lets it go. She's not afraid of being alone. In fact, she thrives in it. Because in her silence, she finds clarity. In her stillness, she hears wisdom the noise would cover up. That's why her inner group is small. Not because she's unfriendly, but because she is careful. She understands energy. She knows the people you let in can either lift you up or tear you down. So she protects her space like it is holy. She's seen that evil doesn't always show up loudly. Sometimes it hides behind a quiet smile. Sometimes the ones who cheer the loudest secretly want you to fail. She's felt that pain. Now she listens more deeply, watches more closely. She no longer lets labels like friend, family, or love blind her to bad behavior. She doesn't need a crowd. She just needs a few honest people. People who celebrate her without wanting to compete. People who don't talk behind her back because they have good character. People who don't smile in her face and plan against her. And if she doesn't find those people, she is fine walking alone, because being at peace with herself is better than being in chaos with others. She would rather walk alone in truth than be surrounded by lies. Her spirit stays pure because she does the inner work. She doesn't just guard herself from others. She checks herself too. She faces her own flaws. She holds herself responsible. She forgives not because others deserve it, but because she refuses to carry bitterness. That's her protection, refusing to let darkness grow inside her. She knows what you carry becomes what you attract. So she releases hate. She releases envy. She releases revenge, not out of weakness, but from wisdom. She knows a clean heart hears clearer. She knows good things come easily when there's no blockage in the soul. Evil grows in bitterness, and she refuses to feed that. She lets go of the pain. She heals, and through that healing she becomes untouchable. Bad people can't use guilt to trap her. They can't twist her emotions. They can't drag her into their messy situations because she's not living from old hurts anymore. She's aligned now. Her tight group is her shield. It's not about the number, it's about how real they are. Real recognizes real. Loyalty finds loyalty. And her life is built on truth, not attention. That's why darkness can't reach her. It can't last in an atmosphere that's pure. A clean spirit shows the badness in others. It makes people who try to control others uneasy. It makes liars nervous. It makes people who use others leave because they can no longer feed off her. She doesn't chase people. She doesn't beg for love. She doesn't force connections. If it's not mutual, if it's not honest, she releases it. She understands anything forced isn't right. Anything meant for her won't make her lose her peace. That's why she sleeps soundly. Not because her life is perfect, but because her circle is true and her spirit is at rest. And no matter how much she loves someone, if they disturb her peace, She'll choose herself every single time because she's not afraid of being alone. She's afraid of losing herself in false connections. She's afraid of giving to people who only take. She's afraid of repeating bad patterns she worked hard to break. So she stays protected, not closed, just wise. And when something feels wrong, she trusts that feeling because experience taught her peace is a compass. Chaos is a warning. Her circle is made of people who don't need to be watched. Their loyalty speaks for itself. Her spirit is pure because she's done the work. Her life is protected, not because she fights off darkness, but because she doesn't let it in. That's why she stands tall. That's why she walks confidently. She's not carrying dead weight. She's not dragging old pain. She's not spending time on soft-spoken, sneaky people. Her life is rooted in truth, and that life cannot be shaken, not by lies, not by betrayal, not by evil hiding behind sweet words. Her circle is small, her spirit is clean, and that is her defense. There's something powerful about a woman who doesn't panic when a storm hits. While others are losing control, trying to grasp for order, she stands steady, calm, firm, grounded. She doesn't let the mess outside disturb her calm inside. Her peace isn't built on easy conditions. It's built on something stronger, something earned, something shaped in trouble, pain, and struggle. She didn't find peace because life was simple. She found it because life tested her, broke her, stretched her, and she still stood. This kind of peace can't be faked. You can't pretend your way into it. You can't borrow it from someone else. You have to earn it. You have to walk through fire and not let the fire define who you are. You have to see everything fall apart and still choose not to fall with it. You have to lose what you thought you needed. Say goodbye to people you thought were forever and still rise with purpose. That's where true peace is born. Not in ease, but in overcoming. Problems will come. But she's not shaken by them because she's tied to something deeper than her feelings. She doesn't chase after clear answers. She doesn't demand explanations. She's learned that peace often arrives when you stop trying to understand everything and start trusting in the journey. She doesn't need all the answers to feel secure. She just needs her mindset to stay firm. That's why when trouble shows up, she doesn't panic. She's been through it before. She stood in the dark and didn't let it consume her. She's felt fear and still kept going. She's cried through the night and still rose in the morning with fire in her spirit. She knows how to stay calm in the middle of chaos because her peace isn't tied to the absence of problems. It's tied to the power within her. People often think her stillness means she's weak, but they have no idea what it took to find that stillness. It takes courage to stay calm when everything is loud. It takes inner strength to be kind in a world that encourages anger. She doesn't argue to be right. She doesn't break down just because things didn't happen as planned. She's learned how to move with the waves without letting them drown her. That's not just growth, that's protection. That's true spiritual defense. She doesn't need everything around her to be calm in order to feel okay. She builds peace inside herself. She protects it. She nourishes it. She guards it like something sacred because she knows people will try to shake her and life will try to break her. But as long as her inner world is in order, the chaos outside can't touch her. That's why you will see her walking through fire with a smile like she's strolling through a peaceful park. Because peace isn't about what's happening around you. It's about what's going on inside you. And toxic people, they hate that. They hate that they can't get to her, that their mess doesn't bother her, that their silence doesn't make her question herself, that their mind games don't work on her. They'll criticize, but she won't react. They'll try to confuse her, but she stays clear because she knows if they can't take your peace, they can't take your strength. So she holds on to it like her life depends on it. Because in many ways, it truly does. She's not blind. She knows problems will come. Life has shown her that peace doesn't mean life is perfect. It just means you're no longer controlled by the imperfections. That's why she doesn't speak fear. She doesn't expect to fail. She prepares her mind. She builds her spirit. And she walks with quiet confidence through every low point because she knows bad times are temporary. But the character you build in the bad times lasts. She doesn't need everyone to agree with her path. She doesn't explain her choices to people who only want to judge. Her peace protects her from that. It gives her the space to move quietly, to choose her battles, to walk away without having to explain it, to focus on what truly matters, to breathe deeply even when life feels heavy. That's real protection, not from pain, but from reacting in ways that give pain more power. So while others panic, spin and rush, she moves slowly, she moves with purpose. Because when your peace is whole, your vision stays sharp. You don't chase, you don't fear, you don't collapse, you flow, you trust, you rise. And even when the world feels like it's falling apart, she doesn't. Because she's not built on the world, she's built on strength, on wisdom, on an inner core no storm can shake. That's how you recognize a woman who's protected. Not because life doesn't test her, but because when it does, she remains steady. She doesn't let the noise outside mess with the calm inside. And that is the mark of a woman who's been through the fire and came out stronger. A woman who knows herself. A woman who doesn't need life to slow down because she's already carrying peace within. There's something strong about a woman who doesn't. She begs for answers, doesn't chase people, doesn't hold on to what's clearly slipping away. When her spirit feels something change, when the atmosphere turns dark, when the peace begins to fade, she pays attention. She doesn't wait for problems. She doesn't wait for proof. She doesn't need a big scene to confirm what her soul already senses. She just walks away, and she does it with her chin high, full of grace, and most of all, without looking back. She understands what many people miss: peace is expensive. And anything that threatens that stillness, that clarity, is too expensive to hold on to. She's not afraid to let go, not scared to lose people, not worried about disappointing those who expected her to accept less, because she knows the cost of staying in the wrong place is far higher than the pain of walking away. Some might call her silence cold, but she knows its clarity, its strength, its self-care. She doesn't welcome confusion. She doesn't take part in chaos. She doesn't argue for approval. When something feels wrong in her soul, she honors it. She respects her gut feeling like it's sacred, because she's learned sometimes your soul knows what your mind hasn't figured out yet. And if you keep staying where you feel empty, you'll start getting smaller just to survive. And she's not here to shrink. She's here to live. She walks away not because she's cold, but because she's healed. She walks away because she knows you can love deeply and still let go. You can forgive completely and still not open the door again. She's not bitter. She's just not bleeding for people who wouldn't even notice she was hurting. That's not arrogance. That's growth. When she walks away, she doesn't slam the door. She doesn't throw words around. She doesn't make noise. That's not her. Her quiet exit says more than words ever could. And those who observe her closely know when she leaves, something important leaves with her, because her presence isn't average. It brings light. It brings healing. It brings calm. And when she's gone, the space feels different. The atmosphere changes, because what she brought can't be copied. It can't be replaced. But their souls hate that. They hate that she won't play their games, won't stay to pretend, won't lower her standards to feel accepted. They hate that guilt doesn't work on her anymore. Chaos doesn't pull her in. She's too grounded now, too rooted in truth, too connected to her mission to let anything take her off course. There's a reason she doesn't explain herself anymore, doesn't defend her silence, doesn't argue her choices, because she understands peace doesn't need to be explained. You either feel it or you don't. And if you don't, that's not her problem. She didn't come here to be understood by everyone. She came here to protect her light, to live her truth, to walk in her purpose. And if leaving is what it takes to guard that, she'll walk with grace without hesitation. She's learned how to let go, not because it's easy, but because it's necessary. She knows some people only show up to teach you what to avoid. Some situations come just to remind you how valuable you are. And when their purpose ends, so does her presence. She doesn't force anything to stay. She's done watering dead plants. Done explaining herself to people who benefit from her confusion. Done showing up where she's barely welcome. When she leaves, it's not out of anger. It's out of care for herself. It's about honoring the woman she's becoming. The one who doesn't shrink to make others comfortable. The one who's not available for anything that doesn't grow her, heal her, or lift her spirit. That woman, she's unstoppable, and that's how you know she's protected. Because no matter how loud things get, no matter how tempting the mess, no matter how many people try to pull her back, she walks away. Not just with her feet, but with her heart, her energy, her spirit. She doesn't leave pieces of herself behind in broken places. She leaves whole. She leaves ready. That kind of wisdom, that kind of peace, that kind of self-love that's not learned in books, that's learned through pain, through betrayal, through long nights and quiet strength. That's how she became this version of herself. A woman who doesn't just survive bad energy, but rises above it. Because nothing evil can cling to a soul that is this aligned, this aware, this divinely covered. If you see even a little bit of this in your life, know that you're not forgotten. You're not weak. And you're definitely not being punished. You're being protected. And sometimes the greatest gift isn't what shows up, but what never reaches you. Walk boldly. You are chosen.